commend your efforts going forward and encourage the department to sustain its strategic role as a hub of career planning within the Nigerian Army and delivering critical support to our personnel through robust data management, accurate record keeping, and professional career development. Finally, I wish to most sincerely thank our esteemed resource persons for honoring our invitation to share their wealth of knowledge and experience with us. I salute the past military secretaries, Army, for their steadfastness in always identifying with the department. I equally thank other retired senior officers and friends of the department for gracing this seminar. Indeed, the seminar presents a unique opportunity to engage in meaningful discourse, share insights, and foster a culture of continuous learning and growth. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I hereby declared the third edition of the Army Headquarters Department of Military Secretary Data Management and Record Keeping Seminar open. I wish you all a productive and rewarding seminar. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much, sir. May I respectfully request that we appreciate the special guest of honor with another resounding round of applause. May I also crave the indulgence of the special guest of honor to please recognize in our midst the presence of some important friends of the Department of Military Secretary Army who are here with us this morning. We have in our midst the Director General, National Identity Management Commission, Engineer Abisoye Koka Odushote, who is ably represented here with us by Adedapo Adebayo. You are most welcome, sir. Also, we have the Director, Information Technology and Identity Database at the National Identity Management Commission, Engineer Larry Yusuf. You are most welcome, sir. Also in our midst is the Managing Director, Gulf Technologies, Mr. Oche Akiti Ojoje. You are most welcome, sir. Lastly, we have the National Commissioner and Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Data Protection Commission, Dr. Mrs. Tolu Pius Fadikbo, who is represented here this morning by Dr. Vincent Olatunji. You are most welcome, sir. The special guest of honor, sir, senior officers, esteemed participants, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. As part of series of lectures packaged for this seminar, we shall now have the privilege this morning to listen to the keynote presentation titled Leveraging Digital Technology for Efficient Personnel Management, a Strategic Approach to Data Management and Record Keeping in the Nigerian Army. This will be delivered by no other person than the former Commandant Army War College, Nigeria, former Acting Military Secretary Army, Major General Charles Ofoche, retired. May I, at this point, invite Major UF Abubakar to please introduce the guest lecturer. Thereafter, invite him to the podium to deliver his lecture. Major Abubakar, sir.
The special guest of honor, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General O.O. Oluyede, Nigerian Army Medal, ably represented by the Deputy Director General, Nigerian Army Heritage and Future Center, Major General P.E. Erumusele. The Chief Host, Military Secretary, Army, Principal Staff Officers from Defense and Services Headquarters, senior officers, esteemed resource persons, invited guests, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am Major U.F. Abubakar, Staff Officer Grade 2, Records Active at the Army Headquarters Department of Military Secretary. Having witnessed the opening ceremony for Data Management and Record Keeping Seminar 2025, it is now time to begin the lecture packages. This morning, we shall be listening to a lecture titled Leveraging Digital Technology for Efficient Personnel Management, a Strategic Approach to Data Management and Record Keeping in the Nigerian Army. This lecture will be delivered by a seasoned retired but not tired senior officer in person of Major General Charles Ofoche, retired. Before I invite the esteemed resource person to the podium to deliver his lecture, permit me to acquaint you with an abridged version of his curriculum vitae. Major General Charles Ofoche, retired, was born on 30th April 1967 in Ogidi and hails from Ogidi local government area of Anambra State. He was commissioned on 27 September 1991 as a member of 38 Regular Corps. He was of the Nigerian Army Corps of Artillery. The seasoned retired senior officer holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Physics and Master's degree in Strategic Studies. It will also interest you to know that our esteemed resource person is also an alumnus of the Harvard Kennedy School, Boston. Major General Charles Ofoche, retired, has attended several courses in notable institutions in Nigeria and across the globe, a few of which include junior and senior staff course at the prestigious Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Brigade Officers Peacekeeping course in Ethiopia, and Peacekeeping course in Mali. Others were Executive Counterterrorism course at George Marshall Center, Germany, and Senior Service course at the United States Army War College. Our esteemed resource person during his active service years served in several units and held several appointments, notable among which include Commanding Officer 323 Artillery Regiment, Military Assistant to the Honorable Minister of Defense, and Commander 32 Artillery Brigade. Other notable appointments held by the retired senior officers were Acting Military Secretary, Army, Commandant, Army War College, Nigeria, Director of Plans at Army Headquarters Department of Army Policy and Plans, and Chief of Transformation and Innovation. His last appointment in the military was Director General of the Defense and Research Development Bureau. In recognition of his meritorious service to the nation, he was bestowed several honors, awards, and medals. These include Grand Service Star, Past Staff Course, Fellow United States Army War College, Fellow War College, Dagger, Command Medal, Field Command Medal, General Staff Medal of Honor, Training Support Medal, General Operations Medal, and Golden Jubilee Medal. He is also a proud holder of both Chief of Army Staff Commendation Award and Commendation Letter. Major General Charles Ofoche, retired, is happily married and blessed with 3 children. At his leisure time, he enjoys reading, playing golf and volleyball, as well as watching football.
At all levels. The attainment of Nigerian Army aspirations will therefore only be possible if properly constituted and led by officers that can adapt to new trends and facilitate the achievement of the combatant Direct Regular Commission, Direct Short Service Commission, Executive Commission, and lastly, Concessional Commission. The Department of Military Secretary functions as the Human Resource Management Division of the Nigerian Army. So it plays similar roles. It is responsible for the planning, coordination, and execution of strategic deployments, as well as balancing manpower needs through postings and promotions of commissioned officers. Traditionally, military organizations worldwide and within Nigeria have relied heavily on manual, paper-based processes for personnel management and record keeping, as well as internal communication. This manual process presents challenges such as inefficiencies, errors, delays, and other vulnerabilities. To address this issue, new technology would be required, as emphasized by late Lieutenant General Lagbaja, our very fine Chief of Army Staff, did a great job on that seat. And he says this, that the ability to manage and secure data efficiently is not just a requirement, but a cornerstone of operational success and administrative excellence, unquote. That is quite deep. It tells you that everything is about what? Management of data. Given contemporary security demands and the need for high number of officers currently serving in the military, the Nigerian Army stands as a strategic inflection point. Through critical analysis and best practice comparisons, this presentation will outline a pattern, the current strategic vision, and challenges inherent, and I also propose a way forward. Now let's unpack this, starting with conceptual discourse. Modern armies increasingly rely on digital technologies to manage complex administrative and operational tasks efficiently. In the context of the Nigerian Army, the integration of digital technology for personnel management, data management, and record keeping has become a strategic imperative for operational effectiveness and transparency. The growing complexity in modern warfare, asymmetric threats, and the need for rapid personnel deployment demand a robust, secure, and adaptable data management framework. For greater clarity, it will be necessary to define these terms used in the presentation. I'll start with digital technology. Digital technology in the military administration refers to the deployment of information and communication technologies, which we call ICT, to automate, streamline, and secure administrative processes. This includes electronic human resource management systems, biometric databases, cloud computing, and integrated personnel information systems. I'm aware that the Department of Military Security is doing a great deal. When General Jamal was the MS, he did a lot of work trying to transform the systems to digital, and that speed has been maintained through Oyilola, and Okoro is also doing a great job. So please sustain it. That's the way forward. That's the way forward. Now let's look at another. Personnel management, as you all know, covers various processes, including recruitment, training, assignment, promotions, employee welfare, and retirement. Traditionally, the Nigerian Army has relied heavily on manual and paper-based record-keeping systems, which are prone to issues such as data loss, forgery, and inefficiency. I would break a little bit here. You see, these are things that sometimes it's not done deliberately. Sometimes it's done through pressure. Having worked in that same record keeping, sometimes you have been inundated with so many files. Human fatigue will set in. You can put the wrong figure. Not intentionally, but that gives you a wrong result at the end of the day. So by the time you automate all the systems, all those vulnerabilities are removed. So it's a good thing where the Nigerian Army personnel management issues for soldiers are also handled by Department of Administration, and I'm also glad to see the other PSOs here present. So this is also something you can glean from and learn from. While the military secretary manages for officers, the Department of Personnel Management manages for soldiers, and as well administration used to manage that. Fejoko used to be the hub of that administration, and he used to do a lot of job in that regard. So the data management is not just it is a strategic asset for operational command decision making. So I will now quickly go on to the next one, record keeping. Record keeping refers to the systemic processes of creating, receiving, and using and disposing records. In the military, records are the backbone of career planning and administration, providing documentary evidence of personnel identity, service history, postings, promotions, disciplinary actions, medical history, welfare benefits, and discharge. The military record keeping relies basically in the past on papers, registers, logbooks, and physical archives. However, digital age demands electronic record management systems that are secure, scalable, and accessible. This presentation will focus especially on management of officers within the Department of Military Secretary. Now let's switch our gear, transition to the next topic, the next aspect, which is evolution of digital technology for personnel management. The world is in a state of flux, so things are always changing. So how did it evolve? What were we doing before now? What are we doing today? And what will we be facing for the future? Over the decades, Nigerian Army has modernized its personnel management processes to align with global best practices. Initially, this task relied on manual paper files, like I said before, which led to inefficiencies and the risk of data loss. A significant shift began in the 21st century with the establishment of the Directorate of Automated Data Processing, DADP, in 1981, paving the way for centralized data handling. This development facilitated the creation of a central database integrating payroll, biometrics, archiving, human resource, and other human resource functions. The Central Data Processing Center today operates both from Lagos and Abuja, with a facility in Lagos that is linked to Nawani network and serves as the authoritative hub for Nigerian Army personnel data. Nigerian Army Wide Area Network infrastructure called Nawani was launched in 2010. After its establishment in May, it made a lot of inroads in digitizing military operations. Its key objectives include implementing the VPN technology, email communication, voice over internet protocols, video conferencing, biometric data collection, and a lot more was done in that time space. Despite initial successes, such as establishing video conferencing nodes in Abuja and field formations, by late 2010, much of the implementation had become obsolete. That is the thing about these new systems. You buy them today, in 2 months, 3 months, they're already obsolete. So it tells us one thing: we must keep on moving with the tide, keep on learning new styles, new technology, new models. And also, most importantly, can we also be creative? Be creative. General Ayanuga did a great job trying to see that the backbone of our systems are also done by us in Nigeria, not the one that we need to procure all the time from outside vendors. I think that is the way to go. More recently, Nigerian Army has adopted the integrated digital platforms, including the Nigerian Army Secured Information Platform, NASIP. General Buratai initiated this platform, and he helped us to speedily make decisions on those platforms. And I pray it's still functioning today. The plans we had, and I must be honest here, is that sometimes we are, as humans, we resist change. We fight change. It was a big issue in 1991, learning how to use computers. For those that were not used to computers, okay, you can do it, type it and bring it. I will do the manual correction, print it, but you can also do it on your system. So, but I think Nigerian Army has evolved. We now have officers who are now computer literate, and things are getting better. So, but human factor always comes to play. When there's a new device, you want to fight it. You want to resist change. But please open your mind to change. Because the only constant thing in the world is what? Change. Change. You can't avoid it. So recognizing that infrastructure alone cannot drive digital transformation, it is essential to enhance ICT skills of personnel to unlock new opportunities and foster growth in the digital age. To achieve this, the Army, Nigerian Army, as well as other services here present, can build expertise in digital warfare and do organize workshops like leadership skills development courses, which includes specialized digital skills models. So embed it in your curriculum so that people get used to these new terms, new languages, and then that way they can quickly adapt to the change. These initiatives seek to empower junior and mid-tier officers to improve their digital literacy by effectively navigating the digital landscape. Now, let's switch gear a little bit. Let's transition to our world, where we are, the current strategic vision. In response to modern demands, the Nigerian Army has developed strategies to enhance its human resource initiatives. A key project is the Smart Soldier Initiative, launched in September 2024, aimed at equipping soldiers with smart devices and AI-enhanced wearables for improved battlefield communication. This aligns personnel data inflows from mission area with the central records. The Department of Ministry Secretary has also made significant strides in integrating digital technology into its career planning and record keeping. I recall that was, I think, 2014, 15, 16, when I served at this as a DMS1. We had to, it's just interesting how things have changed and have evolved. Those days, visiting the MS was like a big deal. I mean, if coming to the MS was a big deal. You must have bought job to come to the MS. But we now taught in our team, we are supposed to be helping build the careers of people. Can we change it? Can we change that culture? That when an officer writes his PR, it's our duty to inform the officer that the PR has reached the MS and is being treated. And when there is a problem with the PR, it's so incumbent on us at the MS to inform the officer that yes, your PR has XYZ problems. You may need to come back to review XYZ portions of it. That is what I call responsibility to the people you serve. So we changed that in that time space. Thanks to Major General I. Abba, who was the MS at the time. He was disposed to managing the careers of officers better and to get us better reports. And so we did a great deal at that time. And I hope, and I'm actually seeing the trend continuing, because even for what I hear in the MS, you could stay from far away and do a lot of things on your phone, and you get prompts. That's the way to go. That's the way to go. These initiatives has helped improve what the functions of the MS. Additionally, the seniority role and relevant personnel data such as posting history, courses attended, and grades have been systematically digitized, making a major advancement over previous analog methods that were prone to loss and alteration. This is good because it's a win-win. So no officer will say that he was unfairly treated, that I didn't get promotion because my grades were not accurate. That is not true. Now there's a system that you can actually check yourself if your grades are accurate. So it's a good improvement in the right way. To align with the vision of Chief of Army Staff, which seeks to consolidate the transformation of the Nigerian Army towards establishing a well-motivated and combat-ready force capable of fulfilling its constitutional responsibilities within a joint and multi-agency environment, unquote. It is imperative to further consolidate digital transformation efforts by leveraging emerging technologies and possible areas for consideration. I know there are many. Any issues? Okay, there's a channels glitch. All right, I proceed. While he's addressing the glitch. That's one thing you see with new technologies. There are always glitches. Okay, the next one is improving data management. Digital technology modernizes data management in the Nigerian Army by making it more accurate, accessible, secure, and actionable, which directly supports operational readiness and effective personnel administration. Advanced data analytic tools can be used to process large volumes of personnel and operational data to reveal trends, gaps, and readiness issues. So it's not all about just you getting information on officers' grades. You now know from a glance which officers are fit to be deployed in certain areas, where their strengths lie and where their weaknesses are at a glance. So it makes you deploy the officers more effectively to get the results you desire. The Department of Military Secretary, as well as commanders, can forecast manpower needs, plan deployments, track training effectiveness, and optimize resource allocation. So this is what you can benefit using that facility. Now let's move on to artificial intelligence and cyber integration. The Nigerian Army is exploring the application of artificial intelligence in several critical areas, including data analytics, cyber security, predictive maintenance, and adaptive communication. This is already ongoing, but what I want to solicit here is that let there be some synergy amongst all, because when I was the Chief of Transformation Innovation, we chaperone the build of the IMI platform that can predict spares, change, stocking, and all of it. And also the ordnance also came out with some other device, but they are all working in silos. So what I want to suggest and plead that let there be a fusion. Let all of this come together, probably with a hub in the Department of Logistics, that with a punch, you now know what is where, and where you need to maybe probably procure more when there's a scarcity, and what to discard. Remember the episode of exploded ordnances that were expired. Why? Because we didn't have the dates. There was no sense to tell us that these bombs have expired. So it's time for us to get rid of them, otherwise become harmful to us. So those kind of data that you can punch at a glass, you see it, and it helps you plan more effectively. These initiatives aim to enhance situational awareness and maintain operational integrity. The Cyber Warfare Command, along with the Signal Corps, can develop competences in this domain. And I'm aware that Ayonuga was doing a great job, and I'm sure his successor will continue along that same path. The military secretary too can utilize some of this while ensuring security of sensitive documents under its jurisdiction. Luckily, we've not had any theft of. I've not heard of anyone yet of files from the MS, but I think this is a way to even make it even stronger and more secure. Now let's transition quickly to the next one: integrating core components of strategic digital personnel system. This would affect the MS more. To actualize a fully digitized personnel framework, Nigerian Army must build integrated systems across these core pillars. First one is the centralized personnel database, the document records management, the secure and also a secure collaboration and communication, and then lastly, cyber security. I will dwell on that more because I think these are already ongoing projects, but I will dwell on cyber security more because if you have all of this and you've not thought about cyber security, then you've missed it. Cyber security is probably the core thing that we must invest more time and resource to. Data theft is a significant issue in the digital world where intentional manipulation can occur. A modern cybersecurity stack that protects endpoint applications and networks is essential in today's data-driven environment. My last chat with General Ayanuga, he said I think they've managed to scale up to 60%, having the end access that is domiciled in the cyber warfare, and I think all administrations should link to that facility. Let us not reinvent the wheel. Link to that facility and see how we can exploit for greater use. Then I would also speak to, let's now transition to data. So we have to talk about data. Yeah. But what do you do with the data? Data is useless if it's not used. So data sharing and utilization is very important. So let's speak to data sharing and utilization. Data has become the essential currency for effective planning in today's fast-paced environment. Accurate data is crucial for making reliable projections and developing the necessary capacities within an organization. Often, data is readily available, but the real challenge lies in the ability to interpret this information meaningfully for human resource management purposes. You can have all the data in the world, but if you can't interpret it, if you can't analyze it, it's useless. That's what it says. Understanding data trends and insights is vital for implementing strategies that drive workforce efficiency and growth, ensuring that organizations can navigate their planning processes with confidence and clarity. Those two words are very important. Confidence and clarity, because that is the trust the whole of the organization would have when they know that their data is secure. The decision that you make, they know is data driven, that they are not cheated, that the system is fair to them. So that is very, very, so the confidence, the trust of the people you can get through having very reliable data systems. For instance, I will show you a slide table. For instance, the table below shows the strength of Nigerian Army officers for 5 years obtained from the seniority role. In 2020, the strength of officers in the Nigerian Army. Media, please, can we shut down this aspect, please? So that is not aired. They are classified. Trends present some significant implications for various facets of military operations, including power projection, operations, personnel management, training programs, logistics, and accommodation. The data is domiciled in where? In the MS. It has all this data. Is there a link with logistics so that when we increase manpower or when we have a projection that we're going to increase X, Y, Z, are we planning alongside? With the engineers, how long does it take for us to build a block of 30 rooms, knowing that the building has to cure on 3 floors, 21 days? Have we restored that in our planning? So it's not just when I have the data. How have we analyzed it and how have we used it for budgeting purpose, for training purpose, for all facets of what we do in the army? And that is why the MS is critical. It's the fact that the MS avails you that you can plan with. So we can't do without data. These figures are instrumental in determining the requisite promotion numbers. Yes, this figure tells you how many people you can promote and how many people you cannot promote. Because the MS has what? Our pyramid. Not so. Our pyramid must be maintained. Not everybody will be coerced. It's not possible. Only one person can sit there at any time. And the thing must be cascade down. So we must have that understanding. So it's good we do these conferences regularly so that everybody is put to knows how to manage their expectations. That you come in doesn't mean that you're going to rise in the army up to the rank of a 2-star. It is not a civil service. The military is not civil service. The military is what? a military organization and we don't adhere to civil service protocols or patterns. Civil service can be flat up, but in the army, it is what? A pyramid. That said, the hierarchy and structure within the army is sacrosanct and must be kept for disciplinary issues, control, command. Very, very important. Furthermore, this information is crucial in analyzing attrition rates and establishing realistic recruitment targets for the officers' corps. For example, increased intake figures would necessitate a corresponding rise in number of instructors at training institutions, the development of additional training facilities, and careful budget considerations to ensure competitive advantage in warfighting capabilities. From a career planning perspective, higher attrition rates for cells 1 to 3 will be imperative to sustain the hierarchy or facilitate an expansion of the organizational structure. Cells 1 to 3, for those who have served in the MS, they are cells. So, happy Jamal, if I'm happy, so cells 1 to 3 will do their rituals. So to make sure that we get the best fit for purpose in all of this. It's also essential to effectively balance and sustain these elements to maintain a competent and resilient fighting force. I know General Eremosele is an engineer. By excellence, he was also an MS person. By excellence, he handled records ruggedly. And I know we faced all of these challenges in the records cell when we had to go for promotion boards. And then the queries that came afterwards, that what, you explain that why was I not promoted? How do you answer that question? You're not promoted because there's no vacancy to accommodate everybody. So it is the best of the best that gets selected. Simple. 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 So we must come to that understanding, and it helps us manage expectations. It helps us manage expectations so that you have a fulfilled career in the military. So you don't have very bogus expectations. And that will tell on your life after service because you live frustrated. So it helps. So let's do this regularly. So now let's connect the dots. To effectively harness the power of digital technology for career planning and record keeping, it's essential to focus on the knowledge management and the strategic utilization of technological tools. This approach aims to enhance decision-making processes within divisions, every division of the British Secretary, by leveraging the advanced ICT solutions available at Cyber Warfare Command. A comprehensive program can be crafted. This program will systematically analyze and distill all relevant factors as outlined in the first para, ultimately producing actionable options for the department. It will also serve as a valuable resource for advisory support to other Army headquarters departments during the formulation of policies, ensuring a cohesive and informed decision environment. It's not all that, it's not as if once we do digital things, then all our problems are solved. Every coin has what? Two sides. So we have looked at the utility we can have from a digitized system, but it also has its challenges. And we'll speak to those challenges shortly. Digital technology at its core operates through intricate electronic mechanisms that relies heavily on algorithms to function. While it serves as a powerful tool for modern society, it is inherently limited by its non-human nature. It lacks the ability to engage with or comprehend emotional nuances. This contrasts sharply with the mission of the Department of Ministry Secretary, which is deeply rooted in human resource management. This field encompasses critical elements such as career planning, force balancing, and various phases of manpower, all of which necessitate a profound understanding of human emotions, motivation, and interpersonal dynamics. In essence, digital technology should be viewed as a valuable tool rather than a substitute for established systems or processes. Its utility is significant but cannot replicate the complex human interaction and empathic decision that are vital in managing a workforce effectively. I'll break here a little bit. You know, the systems can predict when you are sick. The systems can predict when you had an accident or an injury in battle. But that is why you have become incapacitated. So the systems cannot read all of that because systems drive on algorithms. So this flip side is where the human being has to come in to look at, okay, this man has done well, blah, blah, but now he's not doing it because he has gunshot wounds, he has XYZ limits. So we can think about how to employ him better without him losing anything. Thus, it becomes imperative to acknowledge the limitations of digital devices, striking a harmonious balance between the objective, data-driven aspects and the subjective human considerations inherent in career planning is crucial for fostering an effective and responsive organizational environment. The table below shows my small thoughts, my little suggestions on how to mitigate some of these technical limitations in digital technology. I picked quite a few of them, and for instance, the first one was acceptance and budgetary constraints, which I've spoken about already. I also discussed the fast pace of modernization and equipment change, and the implication that it creates vulnerabilities and process delays. So the mitigation approach is that you do audit regularly, replace some systems, and adopt cloud and virtual visualization. I also discussed the cybersecurity part of it in the lecture before, and I will just speak to the last two for time. The interoperability constraints and change management resistance. So when I use the term interoperability constraints, I mean integration challenges across units, formations, and headquarters. That will be a challenge. You can't get automation from the units, platoons, all the way is. For now, we've not invested enough in it. So it may be a challenge, but that is the way to go. So what we do in the interim, adopt open standards, integrate Nawani and Cyber Warfare Command facilities to see how we can use what they already have that are functional to get it up and running. Then lastly, the last one is change management resistance. Of course, change. We want to fight change all the time, but there are ways you can fight change. Resistance to new technology and inherent disruptions. Of course, any new technology you put to use will give you some disruptions, no doubt. There will be initial disruptions, but after that, you start benefiting from the utility of it. So those disruptions, how do you manage it? To manage it, you deploy champions at unit level. That is people who you have trained to manage those issues as they arise, and enforce digital mandates in daily tasks. Now, I would end with This will probably sound like I won't do a recommendation, but I'll just give you a way forward. My way forward would be, first, digital technology can significantly enhance all aspects of the core functions of the Department of Ministry Secretary in areas of commissioning, promotions, and everything we do at the MS. Key areas that were highlighted can be leveraged through digital technology for career planning and record keeping. And some of it is summarized below, which are shown on the screen. I will start with assessment. For us to attain this, we need to do about 5 things. I'll speak to 4 things. Assessment and upgrading the existing platforms. We have platforms already. We need to invest, get new ones, train people to attain this. Second one, training and change management. I've already spoken about resistance. So we need to also do a lot of training for the new models and see how we can manage the change to reduce effects of disruption. Third one, scale up integration. Integrate existing facilities on a SIP and the cyber, and then see how we can develop the PR. Can we make it, can we put on those platforms, make it electronic? I think the Navy does it. Or is it the Air Force? You're already fantastic. But the Air Force, I think I was PMS1. The Air Force showed me a model of what they were doing. And it was quite nice. So anyway, they can just initiate it. So I think we should start working on it. Deploy mobile access via secure apps and smart devices. And then lastly, you can't do all of this without discussing the governance and policy framework. Because if it's not backed by law, somebody will take you up and say, you people started adopting something that was not covered in the HTAC course. So, enact data regulation frameworks, schedule system audits, then establish data governance committees and workflows, and then lastly, include the use of digital systems for career planning in our HTAC course. I would end here. I hope I didn't bore you with all these technical terms. The time we're waiting for. So this presentation has discussed the transformative potential of the technology in enhancing career planning and record keeping within the Department of Ministry Secretary. Building upon existing infrastructure such as the Nawani and Cyber Warfare Command, as well as NASIP, this effort is informed by current strategic directions aimed at developing a smart soldier concept. I've also tried to bring out the 3 critical pillars, which are the to advance technology and the role of personnel and the establishment of supportive policies in the lecture. The presentation also outlines a comprehensive roadmap that judiciously balances the need for immediate technological upgrades with the imperative of long-term integration, aiming at cultivating a professional, future-ready military force. This will be characterized by a secure, digital-first approach to personnel management that not only streamlines processes, but also fortifies them against vulnerabilities associated with traditional analog and manual record-keeping processes. The anticipated integration of the digitized systems is expected to, of course, significantly mitigate discrepancies and inefficiencies associated with all these outdated processes by cultivating an ecosystem army that enhances confidence, equity, trust, and meritocracy. This initiative fosters a culture of professionalism. This, in turn, contributes to the development of a more capable and resilient military organization. Thank you for your rapt attention.
Thank you so much, sir. May I respectfully request that we appreciate our resource person with another resounding round of applause. The special guest of honor, sir, very senior officers, distinguished invited guests, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen. We are now into the second segment of this lecture, which is the interactive session. May I, with the kind permission of the special guest of honor, humbly invite the moderator for this segment, Lieutenant Colonel L.B. Yusuf, to please coordinate this session. The moderator, sir. May I also invite our resource person to please join the moderator at the stage. Thank you, sir.
The special guest of honor, sir, Lieutenant General O.O. Oluyede, Nigerian Army Medal, ably represented by the Deputy Director General, Nigerian Army Heritage and Feature Center, Major General P.E. Eromosele, our Chief Hosts, Military Secretary Army, Major General E.I. Okoro, Principal Staff Officers, Senior Officers, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. We are now in the second segment of the seminar, which is the interactive session. I am Lieutenant Colonel L.B. Yusuf, Assistant Director Records, Army Headquarters Department of Military Secretary, and the moderator for this session. For the past 45 minutes or thereabout, we have listened to an insightful and educative lecture delivered by our resource person in the person of Major General C. Ofoche, retired. The lecture, titled Leveraging Digital Technology for Efficient Personnel Management, a Strategic Approach to Data Management and Record Keeping in the Nigerian Army, has agitated our minds and elicited questions which we may want to clear. Therefore, the session will be conducted in the following manner. Our resource person will entertain a total of 6 questions, 3 from each side of the hall. Thereafter, I will humbly request the senior officers seated in the front rows for their contributions and inputs. This will be followed by the sum up by the special guest of honor. Now I will commence with questions from participants to my right side of the hall. Questions, please. Urge to ask questions and clear any doubts.
confuse the audience or or it was very clear. So there's no need for any questions. Okay, thank you so much. But I'll appreciate feedbacks so that probably the next lecture we can improve on the content and probably the delivery or whatever you may find necessary. Thanks.
Good morning, sirs. Kindly allow me to stand on existing laid down protocols so that I don't get into trouble. Sir, your presentation is deep and well delivered. Thank you, sir. When we talk of records in this environment, staffing is key. How do you validate? How do you identify? How do you profile? How do you vet your personnel? Because I'm here today with my colleague representing the Director General at the National Identity Management Commission, Engineer Abisoye Koka Odusote. And I'm also sure that everybody in this hall must be aware of the National Identification Number, and thereby everybody has one. So from the military perspective, identifying personnel is key for national security, and that is what we provide. We provide the verification and authentication platform whereby citizens can enroll and be identified. As at this morning, we are at 123 million plus enrollment into the National Identity Database, which is by far the largest database in Africa. Thank you, sir.
Well, we have a very robust way of identifying our personnel, and it's not new. I joined the military in 1986, and even at that time, it is 1986, we still went through a very rigorous process. Starting first from NDA, they take your, well, it was still analog then, but you have your official representation. One, the NDA as an institution also does what they do, a tracking of your results to know if you really are the owner of that result that you have used to gain entry into the National Defense Academy. And through that period, you are also, even in your village, they send people to go confirm, are you from that village? Or they do a lot of, the intelligence corps does a lot of it. So, and I know that through the years, before I left the army some years ago, it has even improved. It has even improved. So they have, in addition to what we have at National Identity Card, National Identity Number, we also have other ways of also tracking. Once you get in all the biometrics of everybody here, I can beat my chest that 100% of a soldier comes to the army today, his biodata we have. And I know we are even doing more than I think they were trying to, before I left, they were trying to do what they call an iris. They can even do an iris technology. An iris meaning that the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, and we can get it too. Peradventure, you get injured in battle and there's a dysfunction in you, we can still trace and know your identity up to DNA study. So that is in place. And I know the army is doing even more than that. I've long left. I know maybe the MS will speak to that when he speaks. Thank you.
Now to questions from the left side of the hall.
Good morning, sirs. Your presentation was very so sorry. My name is Dr. Tolu Pius Wadikbe. I'm representing Dr. Vincent Olatoji, the National Commissioner for Nigeria Data Protection Commission. We are glad to be here. You did a very wonderful presentation. I listened attentively. You discussed the issue of emerging technology when it comes to data management in ministry. Before I ask my question, I was actually expecting to see your data protection principles, because by processing personal data, you are processing personal data. So my question is, sorry, I have to write down my questions. How do you stay up to date with emerging threats and technologies that will impact data privacy and security in military context? You know, we always have the more you have new technologies, the more you have hackers trying to hack those technologies. So what do you have in place? Then how does the military ensure that in compliance with the Nigeria Data Protection Act? And what the Act does is that it regulates the processing of personal data in Nigeria. Sorry, I have a lot of questions. Yes. So number 3, yes. What measures does the military take to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability of sensitive military data? I'll just add one more question to that. So in the case you have a data breach, how do you undo data breaches or unauthorized access to sensitive information? I will stop there. Thank you.
Madam, thank you for your question. This is a barrage of some sort, but I'll attempt to answer the ones I can. I know a lot has happened since I left the system. For the processing of personal data, like I mentioned in the lecture, we have improved over time. We started first with small systems, but as new technology came on board, we started using them too. That I can speak to. If you recall, in the course of the lecture, I also said something about I mentioned a particular officer who did create a lot of good job at the Cyber Warfare Command. He created models that can make us even protect our back end. So we've got to the point that we don't even, our information is foolproof. It's close to, but let me rephrase it. Nothing in the world is 100%. No security device is 100%. None. But sufficiently, he has done a great job that the back end we own, as against us patronizing vendors. You buy these facilities and the back end you don't have. So we have some very fine officers, young officers, who are developing new models at the Cyber Warfare Command, and that is their task. So that answers the questions regarding cyber protection. It answers your question on data protection. We are also compliant to every act promulgated by Nigeria. We are law compliant. We have very responsible people in the military, and we just do just that. We don't do anything that is unpatriotic. We are very patriotic. In fact, the most patriotic in Nigeria. Yes. Regards speciality and accessibility, it's the military is regimented. That you must know. But we're trying hard to improve on a culture. So the culture is a good one, but we don't want abuse. So as much as the military tries to transform, not to the fact that it becomes injurious to the military itself. So we avail information as much as we can on a need-to-know basis. And that is why when I was brandishing figures, I was conscious of it. Yeah, it has larger implications. But I could speak to the effects of the figures, but not speak to the figures directly. So that answers that. Then data breach. Well, like everything else in the world, there are always breaches. And that's why we're employed. When there's a breach, you start working on how to create another system that will block it. And in the process of you blocking it, another one is created. So it's an ongoing thing. Nothing is perfect. I hope I answered all the questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. My name is Engineer Daposam Adedoyin, the Technical Assistant to the DG on ICT. Thank you so much, General, for that lovely presentation. You took us to the classroom. It was eloquent, easy, and simple. Now, I want to mention some things. Number one, I am sitting down for the first time looking at what I have thought of about 30 years ago, when I have one of my late uncles saying that the Nigerian Army wants to start the army computers. And that was before the coup then. And now sitting down, and I see that the army has evolved a lot. You mentioned the center, the two centers, the Nawani, the wide area, and also the other ones. And I was asking myself that, wow, so it's not just about fighting. It's about we knowing how to do the fighting, making use of the data. And I really want to congratulate the Nigerian Army. My DG would have loved to be here. She said, thank you so much. And sir, I want to really thank the Nigerian Army on behalf of the Nigerian citizens that are inside our database, that we have collected, and we are using their NIN for verification, which of course, part of the harmonization that we are having is with the Nigerian Army also. I know that there is nothing that you want to do now that you will not say, go and bring your NIN, where you start from, in area of your staffing and some other thing. So I want to really thank you, sirs and ma, for taking that pain on behalf of Nigerians to defend us, to defend those data that we have kept, those human beings, men and women, young and old, around your country, for your efforts, for defending us. I say thank you very much. You started years back, and like you mentioned, you said we have been using the paperwork, making sure that we do critical investigation. I want to believe that all these past records have now been digitized now. I could see that the ERP solutions you have will have taken you so much into documentations, having solutions that are around the documentation. So please, I encourage that all those past records also, we should have it, so that the children of those who have gone will be able to go back, and probably when they come back and say again as their grandchild and say, your father was once one of us. You understand? So that child will be saying, will be able to say, so you have this record. So if we have not done that. Then secondly, those two centers that you want to harmonize, I will plead that you put more investment into it. If you move away from the site location provisioning of those things, let's move into the cloud quickly. Then again, the harmonization, the IT or data harmonization between the armed forces, the police, the Nigerian Air Force, Navy, and Nigerian Army. I need you to just explain to us, do we have these collaborations whereby we can have the record at real time? So let me put it this way, sir. NIMSI at the top of it, whereby NIMSI at the side of it, that you can fetch information across those armed forces. So I want to know if we have that thing. If we don't have also, we can also look at that so that we have a unified record also, although from different forces that can be harmonized. Thank you very much and well done.
Thank you very much, sir. Engineer Dakpo Adedoyi. Thank you so much, sir. Your comments are very well received, and I know the principal staff officers responsible for the various bits are taking down notes, which I know they will work on. As for the military secretary's office, I know way back 2010 or earlier, the process of digitizing all the records started. And I know under the watch of General Absalam as MS, he completed all of it. So all the old records of retired officers that's ever served in Nigerian Army, we have it digitized. And all the officers currently serving too, all their information is digitized. And he did a very good job as the British Secretary and made that happen. And for the transitioning beyond, which I spoke about in the lecture, you know, technology keeps evolving. The world is in a state of flux. Every new day there's a new thing happening. Yeah, so we are also exploring, I know we already have some of it in the cloud, but then beyond the cloud, tomorrow, what's going to be next? And that's where I think, what's going to be next? Why not pitch for the future? Cloud technology is already there. It's not new. It's not new, but cloud has its own limitations too. And who controls the cloud? You can best answer the questions. so you know the people that control the cloud. So if we have to host everything in the cloud, meaning that we're also giving somebody free of charge everything. So we must also think about what other things can we do beyond cloud. So let us name it beyond cloud technology and see how we can own our own and protect it. Then the aspect of collaborations, I know the Army has been in the forerunner of it. The Armed Forces enjoys it. Army, Navy, Air Force, we do. We share information. And I know the Army is also is a vanguard to seeing how the police can come on board, the DSS and other agencies. But like I said earlier, culture is a problem. Everybody is, what's the word? They are very territorial. Very territorial. Nobody wants to share information. But if you share it, it's more good to everybody than anyone else. But we get there. It's a gradual process. You can't learn to use your right hand at old age if you're using your left hand. So it's a gradual process. We'll get there. We'll get there. At least this conference helps to preach for the advocacy of it, of some sort. So it's in our mind, we'll think about it. Then when we accept it, then we'll start doing it without any compulsion. Thank you so much, sir.
May I now call on Mrs. Merit Unduka, the representative of Oracle, for her inputs and contributions.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Major General Charles, that was a beautiful presentation. There is nothing much to add, but I just needed to specify some things. So when we're talking about cloud isn't new, However, there are different models to it. We understand that this is a government, regulated environment, and things have to be done in the right way. We have the NDPR that manages our data and makes sure that it's sovereign and in our environment. But there are other models, right? We have legacy systems that we already have invested in. No one is telling the Nigerian army to throw it away. You leverage it, and you build upon it, and you scale up. They have the hybrid model, which is an on-premise and also a cloud. But the Nigerian military is so confidential that if we're exploring the cloud, it has to be a private cloud. A cloud sitting in your environment, managed by the personnel, with no loopholes. Again, Major General Charles did mention, somebody who manages it, who sees what, and all of that, which is true. But the Army has been able to develop that back-end system to be able to ensure that these things are managed and mitigated. When we talk about technology, America, for instance, most organizations we see today started technology with the Army, with the military. The database built by Oracle was first for the CIA. It is a very sensitive environment. Everything has to be regulated. We can't do this without equipping and empowering the personnel on ground. They need to be able to understand emerging technologies. Sieve out the noise. There is a lot coming up. Every single day we hear there is something new in the market. But if we're not empowered, we will not be able to sieve the noise. So there is so much work to be done. Military has far gone and is progressive from where it used to be. Automation is not a one-day journey. Every day it's a lifestyle. We keep going and going and going. We keep automating. And technology is not a one-size-fits-all. I bought a technology 3 months ago or 3 years ago. I expect it to do what I intend for it to do, or something, a new workload comes up, and we want that same technology to do it. Again, if we are not empowered within the system, we won't know what is right and fit for the organizations to be able to scale up. Nigerian Army is already doing that. I also understand that in terms of collaborations, the systems that they have on ground also has access to it. There are layers of access, security access that is being issued. So I need to collaborate with you. Doesn't mean I'm going to open up my system to everybody. No. What is required, from the information that I've gathered, they literally operate a zero trust system in-house, which is very beautiful. There is more to do, but they are on the right path. And I commend the Nigerian Army for what they are doing already. I commend the military secretary for what he's doing already. It is a journey that we all have to work together. But we can only work together if we are empowered to understand these emerging trends. Thank you very much.
I'll now call on the Managing Director, Gulf Technologies, Mr. Alche, for his inputs and contributions.
Good morning, General Fisher. Good morning, all senior officers present. My name is Oche, Engineer Oche. I'm the sitting CEO of Gulf Technologies Networks. We're a systems integrator. And we're here. We've been here for more than 23 years. We're still here, strong. Mine is not actually a question. It's just a way of contributing to what the General said and other presenters. As I know, the military in Nigeria has gone way ahead of civil offices. So many of us, we don't really know when MS got their system computerized. It was far back. And I can tell you today that the DATP in Lagos can check any soldier on the road by name or services number. That is a lot, eh? They say soldier is fighting. You claim to be a soldier. Okay, come closer. They punch and they can retrieve your passport and even your last postings. They have all that details. But it's actually illegal for me to tell you, but it's what I had. And the encryption method that the senior citizen has just been talking about, I can also tell you that none of their systems operate outside EAS 256, that is symmetric platform, and RS-ECC asymmetrics. Most applications they have, I know also, like the Nasibi was talking about, are hybridized. And they are zero, just like you said, because they don't even trust anyone. And I can tell you, except they set up a variant server, nobody, no military in the world is going to connect you directly to their in-house operations. Because I am familiar with so many military infrastructures. So, as of today, 2025, the military, especially army, they are far. If I tell you, will you believe that Nigerian army can be in Samisa Forest and do video communication with you through their vehicle, check their mail, access their NASIP? Nobody can do that in Africa right now except South Africa. And they have done that since Boratai time, not today. Because they are closed systems, just like we were taught, you cannot understand that the way they operate. So they are there. And that is why you don't also hear about leakages in their operations, because they need to know, they need to hear, they need to do that, they need to do that. Except when maybe when you talk to social media, you can hear one or two things. Oh, are these people doing well? They are not doing well. That's all. So mine, I want to commend the MS and the army management in total, the DADP guys, they are all doing well. Thank you so much, sir.
I'll now call on Mr. Lawrence Dirisu, representative of the Director General, National Information Technology and Development Agency, for his inputs and contribution.
Good morning, the resource person and the senior military officers present. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. My name is Lawrence Dirisu, Deputy Director, IT Infrastructure and Solution, National Information Technology Development Agency, representing the Director General and CEO of NIDA, Mr. Kashifu Inua Abdullahi, CCIE. Would have loved to be here, but for other exigencies of duty, he asked me to represent him. I've participated in several presentations by the military, especially by retired Major General Ofoche. In fact, most of his lectures are professorial in nature. And if I add a professor, please, I think you can attach that and say as a professor. Thank you very much. Having said that, I just want to kind of make some comments, because I don't have a prepared speech. Why effective data management matters in a digital era? Well, the army are not just fighting physical war, they are also navigating the digital world. But poor record keeping can lead to intelligence gap, logistic failure, or even legal vulnerability. Why effective systems enable predictive analytic, real-time decision making, and seamless interoperability with allies. For the Nigerian Army, operating diverse terrain from counterinsurgency in the northeast to peacekeeping missions abroad, digital management ensure professionalism by minimizing errors, enhancing accountability, and fostering trust among troops. Now, we talk about, in your presentation, you talk about clouds. My agency is regulatory, developmental, and advisory. That is why in our regulatory rule, we set up of recent the TWG, Technical Working Group, involving all the hyperscalers and the cloud technologies in Nigeria to come up with a framework for data residency. We realize that because every country protects their data, we realize apart from the data protection law, there's a need for data residency. Data that you don't know where it resides, especially the cloud data, it might be in South Africa, it might be in Russia, it might be anywhere, anything in the cloud. What if we have problem with that country tomorrow, and then they decide to seize our data? What do we do? Because of that, that is why we're trying to come up with a framework and the regulations that will ensure that our data stays in Nigeria. It's currently ongoing. Then the second thing that I want to also point out is that in your presentation, you also mentioned about unused systems and the licensing. Yes, I think you mentioned ERP. What is the solution to that? I believe Nigeria Army, they have professionals. Because those people out there, they're there to make money. They're there to make money. So, and through the way they make their money is also through licensing. And making money also, you cannot rule out a backdoor on their system of which they can use to carry out nefarious activities. So, and then the other thing I think that's just it. And the IoT, the use of IoT, because you also made mention of emerging technology. How do you identify a rogue soldier? How do you identify a rogue soldier? I expect that you should have you should be preparing, though I think you did a presentation previously during the Smart Soldiers seminar. So you should be using your ID card, should be smart by now, whereby you just get a device, all the data of that soldier is, if an officer just approach, and then you can actually identify, because you have several people disguising and wearing a soldier uniform. How do you identify them? Then I think basically that is what I have for now. Thank you very much.
May I most respectfully request for inputs and contributions from senior officers seated on the first, second, and third row, sir.
The representative of the Chief of Army Staff, senior officers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am Major General M. Adamu, the Deputy Chief of Policy and Plans, policy. Let me start by thanking our keynote speaker for a very detailed presentation. We expect nothing less from you, sir, being our mentor in MS. My own is a contribution. We know that the Department of MS keeps records of Nigerian Army officers, and this record is mainly for career planning and management for the NA officers. So for this, there is always a two-way communication between the department and the officers, and also from the officers to the department. For the department to the officers, if there are some clarifications that needs to be gotten from the officers, or probably during promotion exercise or other career management exercise, if the records are incomplete or inaccurate. And for the officers, they always want to know, are my records up to date? Are they accurate? So, but in order to reduce this level of communication, the department normally publishes some documents so that the officers are aware of the kind of officers being kept on them at the department. One of them is the seniority role, which I believe after the seniority role, it entertains a lot of observations from officers when one or two of their records are not up to date, or there are some observations. Another one is the statistical data for any officers, which is published after 2 years. I don't know whether it is still being published now. It gives record of the last 3 postings of officers. This one too, after the publication, you see a lot of observations from officers. But I believe the department can do more with the advent of the emerging technology. And I want to believe the department is already making such kind of arrangements. That is to liaise with the Cyber Warfare Command to create a portal for each Nigerian Army officer, such that apart from this biodata of any officers, other career management details can be posted there, such as courses and their course grades, posting history, the record of PERs kept in the department, and others. With this, there will be less questions, worries, visits to the department, especially during promotions. I want to know, is my junior div course report there? Is my YOC infantry course report there in my file? Have you received my PER? But if an officer, the way you can just log in and view posting when it is released, so also I believe the department can liaise with the Cyber Warfare Command to create a portal so that you can just log in and see your details. Once you see it, if it is okay, fine. If it is not okay, then you contact the department. With that one, it reduces this two-way communication between the department and the officers. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir.
Our guest speaker for today, the highly respected Major General Charles Ofoche, the special guest of honor and other senior officers. I would just want to draw the attention of the military secretary and the, excuse me, and I'm happy too that the chief of personnel management is also here in person. And where my attention is going to is the need to retain this personnel that have this capacity to develop and manage these systems that we're using to secure our data. I want to draw from an experience I had when I was in inspections and compliance. There was something we were doing that had to do with monitoring projects across the country. And somebody was given to me from Cyber Warfare Command. And he developed that system up to a point. The next time I asked about him, they said he had been posted. And that was it. So they now had to start calling him from his new unit. So that made me to start thinking. And some of them, the skills they have are so specialized and so competitive and highly marketable, so that there could be people outside the system that might actually seek their services, and we'll begin to lure them. So I think we need to come up with some policies to, one, ensure maybe that even people who are trained to have such capabilities are bonded, so that they don't just wake up and the next thing they will give you letter of retirement because somebody has a voluntary retirement or discharge, because somebody has offered them something more lucrative. And then also ensuring that they remain in the system and are deployed to consistently use that capacity to the benefit of the Army. So I think there is a need for us to look at how these personnel who are developing these systems are utilized, managed, so that they also have a full career fulfillment, and also without us having people that could be used. And of course, you know, they could even be target of hostile intelligence services. So all of this may need to be looked into so that we get the best as we continue to work in improving this digitalized data management system, which obviously is the future of the world. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm Rear Admiral Okuluwagbere, the Navy Secretary. So just on one or two comments, observations, and let me join, I think, everybody in the hall this morning to comment your wonderfully, deliberately, and succinctly delivered lecture. Without a doubt in my mind, like somebody mentioned, we didn't expect anything less from a teacher, a boss, and a revered mentor. And nothing more to add, nothing more to subtract. Just also to re-emphasize the point that technology is the way to go in the efficient management of personnel. And we either adapt or we get left behind. And I particularly like the aspect when you mentioned that at the touch of a button, you can see everything regarding an officer's career, his course grades and everything. And for us in the Navy, we're still working on that. We have for the ratings now under the mother-based concept platform, but not yet for officers. And also like the issue of the digital personal evaluation reports. We are also working on that. And for me as the Navy Secretary this morning, I came to learn from the Navy Secretary Army. And I took lectures, I took notes throughout the lecture this morning. And I'm going back better informed. I want to thank you very much, sir, for doing justice to this topic. And I'll thank the MS too for putting up something like this, for inviting us. And particularly too, I want to thank the Chief of Army Staff, General Oluyede, that can only get better. Thank you very much, sir.
The representative of the Chief of Army Staff, senior officers, distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am Major General I.A. Allison, the MD, CEO of the Post Service Housing Development Limited. Sir, I want to join others to say thank you for a well-delivered lecture, an insightful and revealing one. Of course, with digital technology, digitizing our systems, The processes are better, faster, no doubt. I'm in the process of digitizing my organization. It's about 30 years now. I think next year, PHDL will be 30 years. I have files, stacks of files. The letters are still coming in, receipts, stacks. So we are in the process. And I can relate with the resistance to change. But thank God I'm the MD. So push. And that is a suggestion to others that may be in my situation. Push and press until you get it done. I had to get a champion like you mentioned, someone from outside that will now help push the process and get people to even know what to do. I'm sure the MS would be a good place to get some further support. I just want to also give us a word of caution in this day of artificial intelligence and machine learning, where somebody's picture, innocent picture from somewhere, can be animated, a voice, your voice put on it, and then you hear things that you didn't say, and it's playing exactly like you. In these days, things are really rough. So we should be thinking that then it was garbage in, garbage out. Now you put in garbage, the machine is capable of learning new things. So you're not sure what comes out after what you have put there in the cloud or the system. That's what happens now, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So we should keep our minds open and explore and be sure that the necessary safeguards and checks are put in place. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Major General A.A. Adekeye, the Chief of Personnel Management. So, sir, I can only say thank you for the lecture you have delivered. As your former directing staff, I cannot say I will assess my boss's lecture, but you did very well. And you brought out many things that are pertinent to what I do. So overall, I just want to say that the Department of Military Secretary has charted the way that we in personnel management will have to follow. So many things are yet ahead of us, we have to catch up. When I look at it, I have a large quantum of people to manage. And herein lies the challenge of how to safely store my data. Because the personnel are larger, and the system of retrieval must also be safer and faster. So we'll leverage on what the MS has learned in his own process, and I believe General Okoro will avail us that assistance. However, the most important thing is when I look back to see our officers, our clerks, our soldiers, these are people who often generate what is collated to become the data we use in managing personnel. So the challenge is that all of you will face these temptations or pressures from colleagues, or even maybe your seniors. But I want all of you to know that, okay, the integrity of the process lies on your professionalism. Because if you compromise, remember, it could be you tomorrow. So with this, I urge all our personnel who help us to handle or even generate data to be up and doing. Overall, I want to say, MS, thank you for inviting us, and we really appreciate the new things we have learned today. Thank you, sir.
The guest speaker, Major General C. Ofoche, retired, the representative of the Chief of Army Staff, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen, I am Major General I02. I'm representing the Chief of Training Army. I want to once again join all other senior officers that have spoken before me to thank the guest speaker today, Major General C. Ofoche, retired, for this well-delivered lecture to us and the audience and the rest of the participants. So mine is just a contribution. I mean, I want to, it's an advice anyway. Record keeping is important, but then a poorly trained data manager is a danger to the system. So as much as we are talking of transition to the emerging technologies, as much as we are talking about innovative ways of record keeping, I want to advise that there is need for us to look at the training of those who are going to manage our data, those who are going to keep our records. Very, very important. So in that regards too, supervision will come into play as well to ensure that our data is not compromised and maybe our information given to those who are unauthorized to have them. Recent times, we've seen what is happening in the social media, how some individuals in the name of ex-soldiers and so on, how they get access to information concerning personnel serving in the system and use that to blackmail them on the social media. We have equally seen situations whereby, even based on digitalization, you find it difficult to reconcile records. So I want to advise that we take the training of data managers very serious. Thank you, sir.
The representative of the Chief of Army Staff, our resource person, senior officers, participants, gentlemen, members of the press. I am Brigadier General A.C. Abdullahi, standing in for the Director General, Land Forces Simulation Center, Nigeria. So first I would want to thank you for this wonderful lecture presentation, and also recall the fact that a couple of months back you were at the Land Forces Simulation Center, Nigeria, where we equally carry out activities that have to do with data management. and you actually said a lot. But here, I also want to leverage the comment by Major General Chibuzi on the fact that, on the need to bond soldiers or experts that are very good on this IT management systems. And we'll have to have officers and soldiers really stationed in place. Yes, we can understand while leveraging on their expertise, but put in place things that will keep them and make them, would I say, loyal to the system and what they do for the system. So now that the military secretary has brought us here, it's equally, I think, the right time to mention the fact that once we have soldiers in such places, or officers in such places, there's a need. We know that the military is dynamic. Soldiers need to move from one station to the other, but then there are certain areas for institutional memory and capacities that we will have to retain officers and soldiers for a particular purpose. Once again, we want to thank you for these well-delivered lectures and the need for the integration with other stakeholders in the IT world. Thank you, sir.
The representative of the Chief of Army Staff, sir, our guest lecturer, senior officers, gentlemen, I am Major General J.O. Gwoke. I'm representing the Director General, Nigerian Army Heritage and Future Center. Like all others have said, I want to thank our guest lecturer for a lecture well packaged and delivered, so detailed. I want to make an appeal or recommend that we'll extend this data management to our logistics system. The logistics system is the fulcrum on which all military operations revolve. Good. The military secretary, they have started with data management of our personnel. And I'm happy to hear from the Chief of Personnel Management that he's taking it home. It's good. The Cyber Warfare Command is beside him, so they can interface. But in our logistics system, when I was the commander, Nigerian Army Ordnance Corps, I pushed for it so that we can digitize Nigerian Army inventory in ordnance holding. That will enable the Chief of Army Staff to press a button and know what he has of any item, name it. But along the line, other requests from other logistics, other aspects of logistics came up, and the thing became bulky. And the Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command was to take the lead. Unfortunately, I think not much has been done about it. So please, I want to recommend that that aspect should be taken up, because it will help the Army High Command to take decisions as affect logistics, informed decisions, which will help us in our operation and even administration of our personnel. Thank you, sir.
The special guest of honor, sir, distinguished invited senior officers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to once again appreciate our keynote speaker, General Charles Ofoche, for this very well packaged and very illuminating presentation this morning. I can say, without mixing words, that with what we have witnessed this morning, it's no coincidence that the department actually proposed your selection as the keynote speaker for this very important seminar. And indeed, we're very happy for the very illuminating presentation that we've all been treated to this morning. For us at the Department of Military Secretary, as the hub of human resource management, we wholly align with your submission today in your lecture that indeed technology is the way to go. And it is to that understanding and realization that we also have continued to refine and improve our processes, leveraging on technology so that we can better manage and plan the career of Nigerian Army officers. Well, I must say that a lot has been done in that regard, though I still consider it baby steps in relation to where we intend to be and where we intend to get to. We've done a lot. Just like you said, the digitization of our records office is 100%. Some of us recall, maybe for the senior officers that are here, will recall just years back the ordeal that some of our retired senior colleagues used to go through while processing their discharge out of the system. We know at that time officers would travel all the way to Lokoja and travel to Lagos and come to Abuja to complete these processes. But with what we have on ground now, it's maximum 10 minutes at the department. We'll have a desk for non-active personnel, and all those processes that hitherto will require one traveling the breadth and length of this country is done under 10 minutes at a very conducive and serene environment. And that speaks to the leverage that IT gives us when we tap into the potentials that they offer us. The records office, like you said, was completely digitized under my boss, the Chief of Special Services and Projects. My boss, under whom I was the Deputy Military Secretary 1, and the man that prepared me for this appointment that I'm holding today. And drawing from that also, we have tried also to take it further and to improve on what the legacies they have put down for us, and we'll keep improving. One of the things we do, or we have right now, is the EPR, Electronic Performance Evaluation Report, just like you mentioned in your presentation. I can say that that platform is almost 95% ready to be launched, and we're hoping that We are hoping that for next year rendition, we intend to run it alongside the manual one and have a test run and see the penetration within our personnel. And hopefully, it's our expectation that within 2 years of running this, we'll be able to go fully digital. And of course, we know the benefits that will come from having this performance evaluation report digitized. We know the trauma, the challenges officers have traveling, going after, in search of reporting officers or reviewing officers, as the case may be. So all that, we're hoping that once this comes on stream, we'll be able to eliminate all those stress that our personnel have to go through. In addition to that also, we just deployed the posting tracking systems. What this offers us is that it enables us to keep track of officers' postings real time. We, just like you pointed out in your presentation, as meticulous as we pride ourselves that we are in the department, sometimes when you have to resort to manual processes, sometimes you may have some errors that will evade the human detection. But this system will help us to eliminate that 100%. We have deployed that, and it will help us because before now, particularly for the mid-career and junior level officers, we've had instances where officers, perhaps serving in some far-flung places, may be forgotten through no fault of theirs, serving there for upward of 3, 4, 5 years in some instances. And that may not go well for such officers' career prospects and job satisfaction and fulfillment. So what this does is that for every officer, once you're posted, it's automated, it starts reading. If you spend, there are color codes that be assigned to a particular period of time. For instance, if you serve up to 1 year, the system prompts us with a color code, and we know that this officer has spent 1 year on that appointment. 1.5 years and 2 years, the color code changes to red, and it tells us that in that current appointment, this man is due for a change. So that is operationalized as we speak this moment, sir. So, sir, we'll keep going on, sir. This seminar is part of our effort also to have a general discourse and bringing people with experience. And I'm happy for the first time we're inviting our colleagues from the civil sector, people who I say have long years of experience in data management. And I want to thank our guests today that have made some very valid contributions to the discourse. And we'll take it up from there going forward. So I want to finally say thank you very much, sir. You have set the stage. In fact, you have set the ball rolling for us for the rest of the seminar. And I thank you most sincerely. God bless, sir.
Thank you, sir, for those invaluable comments. At this juncture, may I most respectfully request the Military Secretary Army to invite the special guest of honor to sum up the session, sir. The Military Secretary Army, sir.
The keynote speaker, very senior officers, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to join everybody that has spoken in appreciating the keynote speaker for the job he has done. The keynote speaker, in his opening remarks, said Philippe Romosele, my humble self, is his very good friend. He went further to say that we're in the same battalion, Mogadishu, which is correct. But he deliberately failed to say several other things that is making us very good friends, particularly now we have a common place that attracts both of us in town, where we meet often, both holy and unholy hours. Emerging technology is no doubt a critical issue that to enhance efficiency, you need to take advantage of in any and everything one does. Enhance productivity, decision making, execution, and the likes. And the army is putting a lot of effort to utilize emerging technology to optimize output, not only in administrative issues, but also operational and other issues as it concerns the army. Digital infrastructure, both hard and soft wares, human capacity development in that regard to drive this system and actualize the goal the army seeks to achieve. A number of critical stakeholders here from the resource person's presentation have commended the efforts of the Nigerian army in this regard. But we want to make a good work better. So we sincerely value every contribution that has been made here. We believe we don't know it all. Our doors are open. We believe in a comprehensive approach to security issues. We work with sister services, other security agencies, the private sectors, communities, opinion, religious leaders, everybody. Tap from their wealth of knowledge and experience to enhance our efficiency. So with all the commendations from particularly the critical stakeholders we have received, we appreciate, but we still strongly believe we have a lot to learn from you, to tap from your experience, knowledge, to enhance our systems. Because the better we are, the better for the whole country. Because we are dealing with issues of national security. And if there is no security, there is no development. So feel free, if you see anywhere we are lacking, and you believe you have the expertise, you have the knowledge, a knock on our door, a phone call will suffice. I'm very pleased to have such ideas to improve our performance. Having said that, it's every generation has its own war to fight. I was a generation where tanks were the order of the day. Another generation where it was aircrafts. Now the drones are in place. Only God knows what comes next. All are technology related. So technology applies to every aspect of military operations that we must take advantage of. So everybody must be developing capacity, at least at the basic, as a basic requirement in this direction. Time will come where before you can enlist into the Nigerian army or you can be recruited, certain basic qualifications are required that can enable you better appreciate, understand, and operate modern equipment in the military. We know modern technology also have their own risks, identity theft, and whatever. And that's why there's risk management. How do you manage unintended consequences of your actions? So it's all part and parcel of the discourse. I think General Tibu should raise the issue of some specialists. Probably you might be in a particular place today and tomorrow you require his services only to learn that he's deployed elsewhere. An effort for the army to retain such people is important. I'm particularly raising this issue in this audience because I think it's a means of everybody, from infantry, armor, artillery, engineers, everybody. Now there are people with specific expertise, skills, that to retain them in service require to recognize that expertise. If you just treat them, you're a lance corporal, so you're a lance corporal is 10 naira, you stand the chance of losing him. Because people outside the system can offer him a better pay. Just because of those skills, you appreciate it by giving it the due allowance to encourage him to stay. Irrespective of call. Because it's a demand and supply issue. How many are those with those specialties do you have in the system? Can you stand the risk of losing them? So how do you attract them to stay? Haven't served the minimum number of years on recruitment or enlistment that he does not disengage. And then you have him to use for as long as possible. Incentives. Otherwise, without such efforts, the risk exists of losing such technical hands. So having said that, the army has a policy on all these issues. Why every department, every corps must see how to optimize emerging technology to enhance efficiency. It must not fail to coordinate its activities with the Cyber Warfare Command so that we do not go at cross purposes. As an overall coordinator, that everything everybody is doing is tailored in a particular direction towards the attainment of the goals as contained in the policies. So the Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare Command and of course Department of Army Transformation and Innovation will obviously drive all efforts in this regard. But it's extremely important we realize that in a digital era, we must take advantage of it to enhance our operational efficiency. So we have responsibilities at individual level and then also at higher level. What should we as individuals do to attune ourselves to the realities of the moment? And what do we expect the system, the army now, to do for us in line with the realization of the goals and objectives the army has set up for itself? Somebody raised the issue of collaborations with other services, because we do, a lot of things we do are similar. Personnel management in the army is not too different from that of the Air Force, the Navy. So do we have this arrangement at the defense secretary level to coordinate? I know some time ago there was an effort to have DNA for everybody. We normally carry this dog tag. I said, no, there are better ways of doing that. These informations can be contained in a database, have a DNA data bank, and relevant information can easily be retrieved if we have that data bank for the whole armed forces. I think this aspect is a place, is an area we have not gone too far. You know, so the military is a system. If the Air Force is perfect and the Army and Navy is weak, Nigeria will not be secure. We all need to be equally strong to achieve, as well as the other security agencies, to achieve the national security objectives. And that's why it's extremely important that in a seminar like this, our counterparts in the Navy and Air Force are invited, and critical stakeholders in this field are brought in for us to share ideas and experiences, so that at the end of the day, each and every person is better informed, which will be in the interests of the country as a whole. So once more, on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff, I want to thank our keynote speaker for a wonderful job, and I hope we'll meet there this evening.
May we give the special guest of honor another round of applause. With those elaborate comments, we have come to the end of the interactive section. I will now hand over proceedings to the Master of Ceremonies. Master of Ceremonies, please.
Thank you so much, the moderator. The special guest of honor, sir, very senior officers, distinguished invited guests, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is the cherished tradition of the Department of Military Secretary to make a token presentation to very important personalities who add glamour to seminars such as this. Today's event will not be left out, as I humbly request the Military Secretary Army to please invite the special guest of honor, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General O.O. Oluyede, ably represented this morning, to please make a token presentation to our keynote speaker for today. Thereafter, the Military Secretary will also make a token presentation to the special guest of honor and other dignitaries here present. The first presentation is to the special guest of honor, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant. I beg your pardon, sir. The first presentation is to our keynote speaker for today, Major General Charles Ofoche, retired. The next presentation is to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General O.O. Oluyede, Nigerian Army Medal. Still, this presentation is to the special guest of honor, the Chief of Army Staff. The next presentation is to the representative of the Chief of Army Staff, the Deputy Director General, Nigerian Army Heritage and Future Center, Major General P.E. Eromosele. The next presentation is to the friends of the Department of Military Secretary who spare time to honor our invitation this morning. First is the Director General, National Information Technology Development Agency, Mr. Kashifu Inua Abdullahi, ably represented. Next is to the representative of the DG, in person of Mr. Lawrence Derisu. The next presentation is to the Director General, National Identity Management Commission, Engineer Abisoye Koka Odushote, ably represented. The next is to the representative, Mr. Adedapo Adedayo. The next presentation is to the National Commissioner and Chief Executive Officer, National Data Protection Commission, Dr. Vincent Olatunji, ably represented here this afternoon. The next presentation is to the representative of the National Commissioner, Dr. Tolu Pius Fadipo. Our next presentation is to the Managing Director, Gulf Technologies, Mr. Oche Akiti Ojoje. And lastly, on this presentation is to the Director, Information Technology and Identity Database at the National Identity Management Commission, Engineer Larry Yusuf. That concludes the presentation of souvenirs. Next on our program is the group photograph to make this seminar a memorable one. May I also announce that immediately after the group photograph, there will be a 20-minute tea break before we reconvene for other activities of the day. Senior officers of the rank have been just informed that the group photograph will take place here in the hall due to the weather condition outside. The tea break band, please. I'm directed to also announce that the tea break officers of the rank of colonels above and our esteemed guests will have their tea break at the cool room upstairs, while officers participants will have their tea break at the restaurant, and soldiers participants will have theirs at the tent by the poolside outside the hall. May I request that participants to please proceed forward here where we